Oh, technical difficulties, eh? Hi, everybody. It's the
Hello.
Sporculation Podcast. I am, as usual, your host and occasional grand poobah of the podcast. I am Yusuf Rashid, and as usual, I am flanked by my boys. Boys,
I am Parse, aka the Sid of the group.
what?
Of Tim and
Of
Sid.
Tim and Sid, who is, by the
uh,
way, leaving Tim and Sid.
I am Anton. I am the and of Tim and Sid.
Yeah, and I guess I am the Tim. So does that mean you're leaving the show too? Because Sid Sixero announced that he's leaving Tim and Sid. This just got awkward. Folks, we're looking for a new host, I guess. I don't...
Yeah.
Parse is leaving us for breakfast television also? I'm not entirely sure what's happening here.
Your trio. You have a trio.
Anyways, jokes aside, it's Super Bowl time. Not time. It's 2 weeks away, but we know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. It's going to be Brady versus Mahomes. It's going to be Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Their first year with Tom Brady, making it all the way to the big
Oh
dance.
boy.
It's going to be fun.
Oh buddy.
This is going to be fun. Now, we had as I mentioned, we had technical difficulties, and I had gone on this great long spiel about how this was a battle of young and old, and Patrick took on all the quarterbacks of his generation to get to this point, and Brady had to take on the quarterbacks of his generation to get to this point. Now we're seeing a true generational battle, and none of that exists now. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to it because I feel like I think this was the ideal Super Bowl that people were looking at. It was either going to be this or like had the Bills won, to see the Bills, if they could beat Tom Brady, would have been unbelievable, you know?
That would have been a whole Cinderella moment
Oh
because
yeah,
of
that would
how
have been like the ultimate Cinderella
totally
run.
destroyed them
Yeah,
physically and emotionally these last like couple of years. And
yeah,
you know, we would have definitely loved to see that as well. But just seeing him go against probably one of the top generational talents of this upcoming generation,
hmm
it's going to be something quite special to see, and I'm totally excited.
yeah,
Tom had to go through the old guard.
yeah.
Legit.
Tom went through his old, like, not even his old guard, his guard. The quarterbacks of like his era, him, Drew Brees, like Aaron Rodgers, and Mahomes had gone through Baker Mayfield. He's now gone through Josh Allen. Josh Allen had beaten Lamar Jackson with the Ravens, and now we're getting to this point of this very debated topic, but I feel like there's an explanation for it, is whether or not Patrick Mahomes will solidify himself as the new GOAT when Tom retires. Because at this point, it's Tom's last. Like, I don't think it's his last shot at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, but he has
But
a chance of potentially
yeah.
getting Ring 7 and like
Mm.
officially solidifying himself as the GOAT. But if Patrick can get the job done, because he has yet to beat Tom Brady in
Yeah.
playoffs.
Well, first of all, we're gonna hold our Super Bowl predictions until our like of who we think is going to
Yeah,
win at
we're
the
saving that for
end
the
of the
end.
podcast. We got some other fun predictions,
Yeah,
but
we're
yeah,
gonna
you
have
were
fun with
saying
it. We're gonna have fun with this episode.
you were saying like the of
But yeah, so
legacy.
the debate of the Mahomes legacy. He's only 25. He's already won MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and a Super Bowl. He's got a whole career to pull off the numbers Brady has done, and if anything, lead Kansas City to what the New England Patriots were for the last 19 years. So there's time for that to be decided. But if Patrick Mahomes can get the job done in 2 weeks, I think that will solidify not only Tom Brady as the GOAT, but that will solidify Patrick Mahomes as the actual, like, the future. I mean, he already has been, I guess, but this will like officially prove that he is the face of the NFL moving forward. So yeah, now for the fun part. Well, parts. Like, we're doing a lot. We're doing
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of stuff today.
yeah. We gotta
Anton,
we gotta have Parse. Well, Parse, you want to share your thoughts first on the whole legacy of
now for the
I
fun
think Tom's
parts.
legacy is already solidified because getting six in the way that he did, the fashion he did, the way he stroked literal fear into all of us, whether we were on the field or not. It's just been tremendous. He's been the Jordan that we've gotten to witness firsthand, and he's still doing great things like getting to another Super Bowl again. This is like his 10th. Dude, how much is enough? And then you got Mahomes out here now. It's very hard to say to criticize his play and to criticize who he is. He is, in my opinion, next up for sure. He's already proven that. He's got Andy Reid, one of the smartest men in the game, and it's been turning for Andy Reid, and he's starting to reap the benefits of all those years of going through it. And you guys remember those Jets games? You remember when Tom Brady sat him down in his own chair. So it's kind of everything's coming together, and I'm just really excited to see how this is going to unfold in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite exciting, especially, you know, like how Tom Brady left, how he left New England to join join the Buccaneers, grabbed a bag, serious bag, and he whipped up a team in the first year there. Like that, he was already GOAT status. Now he's like definite GOAT. He's top of the mountain. He's top of Everest mountain GOAT. Yeah, I think it's
that LeBron debate doesn't make any sense here because he's literally done it all.
He's great. Yeah, 10 appearances. It's crazy.
19 seasons, 10 appearances, and potentially 7 wins.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But what I want to talk about first, before we get to our predictions of who we think is going to win, is we'll talk about the halftime show. So this year, obviously, is different from previous years because that big C word, not the C word you're thinking of, but the other, you know, the COV word.
Capitalism. Wait.
What? Yeah, so we got a pandemic going on.
Yeah, it's still a thing if you haven't noticed.
And so they're running it at 20% capacity.
Yep.
And you said that
22,000 people will be allowed at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, and of the 22,000 that will be there, 7,500 of those people will be healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, medical staff, the like, that will be getting in for free. And the remaining 14,500 people, I did the math, will be like paying fans that will be in the stadium.
Yeah. So I kind of wonder, like, how do you, I don't know, like they've had some NFL teams have had fans in the regular season games, right? Am I correct?
Regular season, yes. It depends.
You're 110% correct.
Yeah.
Some teams
have.
Just to list some teams, Carolina Panthers, they've had games with fans. New Orleans Saints, they've had games with fans.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Anybody down south and out west has had fans, except for Seattle. Seattle did not.
Except for no, the Seahawks didn't. But even during the playoffs, if you've been watching the playoff games, some stadiums would allow X amount of fans, some stadiums wouldn't. So, for example, we're recording this episode on the day that both conference championship games have occurred. And if you had watched the first game, which was Buccaneers and Packers, Lambeau Field was pretty packed up in Green Bay. Lambeau was
I think they had a capacity of
Lambeau's like
20,000 around there.
Yeah, and then it looks packed though, yeah.
Attendance.
And then later on with the Bills Chiefs game that was being at Arrowhead Stadium where the Chiefs play, that you could see there were fans, but it wasn't as it didn't look as packed. But there were fans regardless still being in attendance. And there of course will be fans in attendance at the Super Bowl this year.
Okay, yeah. Oh. And so I'm just wondering, like, you know, that always people are saying like, oh, that kind of changes the atmosphere of like fans and no fans, especially because of like how big of an event the Super Bowl is. Like, you know, NHL finals and, you know, the NBA finals, those are rather big events. And, you know, of course, the World Series, that's an event, and they had fans there too. Whereas the NHL and NBA were having them in bubbles. Do you guys think that this changes any, like, in terms of the experience watching it on broadcast, or like you don't think it's going to be much of a difference? Because sometimes, like, you know, like when I'm watching a broadcast of like of a Super Bowl match,
Yep.
I can feel the energy radiating through the television from the stadium.
Yep. It's
right.
the electricity of the just the atmosphere of the arena. Yeah.
And that's like a Super Bowl thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only other time I can think of is like a Olympics opening or something. Something like
any gold medal ice hockey game that Canada's involved in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, you could feel that energy. And of course, this year, of course, you want people to be safe, and I definitely want people, the US, excuse me, in terms of cases are just not doing very well right now with that. But I just wonder what you guys think in terms of like if the energy is going to be different.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a different vibe. A lot of people have their masks on. I'm not sure if the performers are gonna have their masks on or if they're gonna be allowed to have masks off.
Well, I think performers are going to have their masks off.
Like the dancers, I meant.
No, they'll probably have masks off as well. So that's a whole thing we can get to in a second. Behind the production of the Super Bowl halftime show, because I've actually had friends that have played the Super Bowl halftime show, and yeah. So I have some information on like how all that works, and especially now with COVID, I think I know one or two people that are playing on it this year. But regardless of that. Yeah, people will be Parse. Finish your point.
My whole thing is that like fans swarming, fans, the whole big wave thing, the whole light show that I kind of see from the pictures on your TV screens. I've never been to something like that, but it looks spectacular to be at. I always think back to that Prince halftime show. Like they actually rained on people for Purple Rain, bro. And it was purple. Like the lighting was purple. Like I've been to some concerts. I've been to a Shawn Mendes concert. That was pretty crazy. There's like a flower in the middle. But like I imagine the Super Bowl would be like 10 times that. So
well, with the production budget, right? It's that like ridiculous amount of money they have to spend on their shows.
So the energy is gonna be down, but I think you'll still feel delighted that you're getting a similar like I guess a nostalgic feel.
I think it'll, yeah, we could go with that. I think it'll be different, not low per se. It definitely won't be the same, obviously, as like a fucking packed up stadium would be. But there will, like, 22,000 fans is enough to get something going. It's not going to be, I think Raymond James' max is 65,000 people. That's their max capacity, if I remember correctly. But you have to also think about where it's going to be held, how many people are going to be there. Are people flying out to go to the Super Bowl, or is it just open to the residents of Florida? So it'll depend on the kind of people that are going to be there. There's one interesting point that I have, and I want to know if you guys would agree with me on this or not, but it's a very interesting situation that the Super Bowl is in now, because this will be the first time that a team in the Super Bowl is playing at home. This isn't neutral ground anymore. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are playing the Super Bowl at home at Raymond James. So I feel like with that, there's going to be some kind of electricity to it. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the ooh and ah and the crazy production that we've seen in past year's Super Bowls, but I feel like that may bring something different to the game. It's definitely gonna bring something new to the feeling of this upcoming game.
Yeah. I mean, let's just hope that like in the case that Tampa does win, that they don't end up, in the streets like another super spreader event. We don't need that.
Yeah, we don't need that. We don't.
I don't know if Parse had something you wanted to say before we get to like the halftime performances. No. Okay. So yeah, the next topic I wanted to bring up is like the halftime performances. Performance by The Weeknd this year.
Our boy. Not our boy, but he's from our area, sort of.
Yeah, he's Canada man's.
He's Canada man's, yeah.
He's Canada Toronto
area man's. Scarborough man's technically.
Scarborough
but, yeah.
man.
Well, he's a Scarborough.
He's a Scarborough boy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scarborough man's.
Yep.
So yeah, he's gonna be playing. And one question that I asked the guys last Super Bowl was, when who was it? J-Lo was performing, right?
It was J-Lo and Shakira.
J-Lo and
last
Shakira.
year,
Yeah, last year.
And obviously, like, it was quite the production. And the question I asked was, who else do you guys think would be a good performer on in the Super Bowl halftime show? That would be a good performer. You guys want to make your picks? I have kind of like a hot take on one. I don't know if you guys want to go first.
Parse, go first. I have 2 in mind, but Parse, go first.
Yeah, I think I got 2. Lil Baby has been quite big so far. You want to go very modern?
Okay.
Maybe he could do it. I really don't like when rappers do halftime shows. It's not because I have a thing against rap. It's just that every time a rapper does do a show, it always ends up being terrible because you're not allowed to say certain words, and it just destroys the performance.
So do you still think that it would be a good show then?
I don't, but at the same time, I don't think people even want to do that anymore. I think people just want to be able to engage with something that they're familiar with. Because
so I don't
you
even
look
know
at the 20.
I don't even know if Lil Baby would be like, he's not even like, he's mainstream hip hop, but he's not mainstream music.
Mainstream. Yeah.
He has a lot of mainstream stuff out there. You know
sure,
what I mean?
but like,
yeah,
when
but
you think
there's
about
like
it,
a threshold.
When you think about like someone who doesn't listen to hip hop, they can name Drake, right? They can probably name like Future. They can name Kendrick Lamar. And if you talk about like R&B, they can name the Weeknd. They can
John Legend.
They can name, they can name these people. But like, they won't be able to. If you say Lil Baby, they'll be like, who is that?
Yeah, most people will be scratching their heads. Like, The Weeknd is a big enough artist for people to go, oh yeah, I kind of know who that is. Like, when they're at that point, that's how you know they're essentially a good fit for the Super. Like Shakira last year, right? Shakira was, of course, the artist that literally everyone knows it's because it's Shakira. You add J-Lo to that, and people are like, okay, yeah, J-Lo. Oh, yeah. Most people know J-Lo from other reasons, like, her celebrity life, but yeah, they have that big enough of a star caliber that they would be ideal to play the halftime show at the Super Bowl.
I see what you mean on that. Another person who I will mention is Ariana Grande. However, I really hope they really don't bring.
Parse got some beef with
Parse
Ariana
really
Grande.
has beef with Ariana Grande, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
She's got a great voice.
Oh yeah.
She's very talented. Got a very talented touring crew, from what you tell me.
Yep.
Sure.
And she also got a very talented recording crew.
Sure.
And the production values are great for her songs.
Parse is just like
Parse got some beef.
Parse, there will be no Ariana slander on this show.
We should make it like a separate video just for YouTube where Parse just rants.
Parse just goes. That's the B-roll.
It should be called In Particular.
In particular.
In particular. But yeah, I think she makes sense because she's a big international star, big global star. She can sell out stadiums and stuff, so that makes sense. And she would be hype enough. I don't know if Yusuf's researching something. I'll give my hot take first then.
You can go ahead. I'm looking up something that will help my point, but you can.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You got to prepare some arguments here. Yeah. Okay. So mine is BTS. That is my hot take. I think it would be very interesting if BTS did a performance at the Super Bowl halftime show, because when you think about like, who do you think when you think of like the stereotypical football fan, what comes to mind?
The stereotypical football fan?
Or like, demographic, target market. maybe not even stereotypical, but like
ages 22
Ages 20
to
to
40.
40.
Big burly men that like drinking beer. I just think of my uncle in Michigan.
Blue
That's
collar
literally
workers.
blue collar workers, yeah. Rednecks.
And like
tend to be Caucasian.
Yes.
yeah, tend to be Caucasian.
Primarily Caucasian, we might say.
And who do you think? Who do you picture when you picture a BTS fan in North America?
It's hard to say because I know a lot of people of different like races. That are fans of
Definitely
BTS.
not.
Like,
Lots of young people.
it's young
right?
people, yeah.
Lots of young people.
Right.
A lot of girls.
Yes.
A lot of girls.
Yes.
A lot of young teenage girls, young tween girls. Also lots of like different ethnicities and races. And they're not people that you would generally associate with each other. But if the NFL wants to broaden its audiences and broaden its reach and also get more higher ratings for a Super Bowl show, like break a record, this could be it. This is like my moonshot, not necessarily moonshot, but like kind of dark horse kind of thing, right? Like bringing a new audience in, like kind of almost like what they're, which was it the Saints game that did the Nickelodeon thing?
When they aired, you're talking about when they did the analytics on Nickelodeon and you had like young Sheldon telling you football facts.
Yeah. So like getting in a new generation, because when you think about it, like a lot of parents are pulling their kids out of football because they're like, of course there's good reasons for that behind in terms of like
it's dangerous
head trauma and
it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
But in terms of fans, if we're just talking about fans of the sport, if you want to, you don't have to ever play the sport. Like I like watching hockey. I've never played it in high school before or anything like that. I just like watching it. And if you want to get a new audience, what better than an audience that you have yet to tap into, which is young girls. And because if you get this audience hooked on the sport, then you could potentially see that paying off in a future for an investment, right? If you get them, of course, the majority of the BTS fans, of the BTS army, as they like to call themselves, will show up just for the Super Bowl halftime show. Like they might watch the whole game because, their friends or their family is already watching it, but they're going to be transfixed on the Super Bowl halftime show. And not all of them will stay to continue watching the game and then next year, continue following football. But I think that might be an interesting, like, quote unquote investment opportunity for possibly bringing in a new group of fans. Yeah. So that's my pick. And of course, they're a talented bunch of guys. They're like, they can sing and dance.
Yeah, they're really good.
And I'm sure I've seen their music videos. They're pretty hype, pretty fun. Like I've seen like highlights of their concerts and stuff like that. Like they can put on a show. So
they're entertainers. They're
they
true
would
showmen.
bring themselves also to a different audience of like quite possibly the parents of the fans that they already have.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
It's like, I know this BTS army guy.
Yeah,
And then
it's like, my kids are a fan of them, right?
Soon you'll have like these 40-year-old beer drinking dads who are saying like
mosh pitting to BTS.
Yeah, mosh pitting to BTS, and they're like, "Oh, this is my bias," and they're gonna be like making fan cams and stuff like that.
Okay, that might be pushing the bar a little too far.
That's stretching it, but
that's
like
definitely stretching.
You can have you might just have like parents and kid connecting together and like wanting to watch something together, right?
Yeah. I feel BTS is I feel like it'd be a really good idea because when you look at like international acts, that have like performed at the Super Bowl before. I'm looking at the list of past performers actually right now, just to help out a point I'm going to bring up later. But looking between 2020, looking from 2020 all the way back to 2010, the only time it's been an international act was, let's see, that's twice. 2010 when the Who performed. They're from the UK, but they're already like one of the biggest classic rock bands in the world, so it made sense. And the other being last year when Shakira performed. Unless I'm mistaken, and one of these people are not from the United States or North America. But so when you look at like most recently, you look at Shakira performing. Shakira is already huge in the Americas. She's big in South America and in North America. So there's also already that massive following amongst different demographics. BTS being one of the biggest things to happen in music in the last couple of years, 3 years now, 2-3 years or whatever, however long it's been. They already have taken over the demographic of like a certain part of the United States. But yeah, no, like them coming and doing something as big as Super Bowl, it'll be a different culture for both parties involved, in that it'll become very, very enjoyable when it happens, because with the amount of money that like Pepsi puts out and like the production team for the Super Bowl puts down for these things, like I'm 100% sure that they would put on a ridiculous show that a lot of people would be very invested in if they ever did the Super Bowl, which like I don't doubt it. Like it could happen in the next, I don't know, 5 years, maybe. Parse is smiling. Why are you smiling? I don't like that.
I mean, just everything you explained, it's cool. I think that's a pretty good idea.
Don't you dare slander Ariana.
I'm not. I haven't even brought it up. Why do you bring it in?
All right.
That person.
So yeah. For what I was gonna say, or at least for like my own personal picks for playing the Super Bowl, I have a few in mind, but I'm not gonna go into them all in detail. I'm just gonna go for like point by point. So first one, I feel like I was looking at the list of past Super Bowl performers, and from 2020 to 2011, it's mainly like hip hop artists or pop artists and whatnot. You have Shakira and J-Lo. Last year was Maroon 5, so like pop rock kind of stuff. The year before that was Dr. Justin Timberlake. He does have a doctorate, fun fact. Lady Gaga, Coldplay, I forgot about them, but more pop rocky. Katy Perry, Bruno, more funky pop. Beyonce, of course. Madonna, I remember that one. The Black Eyed Peas. And then before that, it was a list of like old rock acts. You had Bruce Springsteen, The Who. You had Prince. You at some point had Tom Petty. The Rolling Stones played the Super Bowl halftime show. I didn't know that. Paul McCartney played. I'm learning a lot of things right now. Janet Jackson, of course. Jessica Simpson. Like all these, like, you know, not counting that, but it sort of goes in like eras of what kind of music will be playing at the Super Bowl. And I feel like now, because pop and hip hop and R&B are so like, they are the mainstream, that is what is expected to be at the Super Bowl for what it is. So first one would probably be Ariana Grande, definitely. Like Ariana is one of the biggest pop stars in the world. I'm shocked that her nor Taylor Swift have played the Super Bowl, because Taylor Swift, with the change in direction that her career has gone from this like country star to this like mega fucking pop star, like she has the crowd to bring in for a Super Bowl. And you know, from what I've heard, her shows are really fun and they're produced really, really well. So I could see that happening. If you wanted to go a little more different on the rap side of things, honestly, I would probably pick Kendrick Lamar, as I feel like for what he has to offer, it could be a very, not only in the sense of like bringing it in as like fan wise, like demographic wise, but also like culturally, it will also be a big deal. If you're looking at rock and roll, the Foo Fighters, I think they're the best fit to possibly potentially play the fucking
Here Goes My Hero.
I love that band. Okay, I love the Foo Fighters. But another one that was brought up to some friends and I years ago was in marching band, because marching band is the second biggest thing in the U.S. next to football.
Oh yeah.
We have the Drum Corps International group, which is like competitive marching band, and they have their world championships every year that involve like some of the best bands in the country. And there was a talk about how they are crazy. They're crazy. And there was talks about how they should have whoever places first at the DCI like international, like the national competition, to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. Because think about it, like a marching band at a football show. It's the biggest marching band in the country playing at the biggest football game in the country. It makes sense, right? Now, demographic-wise, would that reel a lot of people in? Probably not, because no one knows it exists except for people that are in it. But I feel like, those options that I brought up, so Ariana, Kendrick, Taylor Swift, the Foo Fighters, whoever wins DCI, those are all good picks. It just depends on what the NFL is looking for that year when it comes to what kind of demographic they're looking to reel in.
Right.
It's marketing, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I think that's some good choices. And my question was like, who do we think would be able to do it well solo, right? Because in the previous, previous years, like they would often bring on special guests, right?
Yep.
But who do you think would be like strong enough to do solo? I think we generally agreed last time, like Kanye would be able to hold his own.
Kanye could do it, no problem.
Kanye could
by
hold his
himself,
own.
no problem.
By himself, no problem.
Yeah.
Like
if they gave Kanye 45 minutes, even though that's way too long, he would do it, and he could pull it off.
Yeah. But he has to be normal, bro. He can't be the way he's right now.
So, regardless of what you think of his politics or his, whatever, he knows how to put on a show. The man knows how to.
Man's an entertainer. He knows how to entertain, and he knows how to play. Yeah.
So I would say Kanye, just like kind of lightning round, sort of firing off names. I would say Usher. He's kind of late.
Man.
He's kind of late in the game. Maybe you might not really quite remember him, but in terms of performance, he knows how to put on a performance. He knows how to put on a show.
Oh yeah.
DMX.
What?
Yeah, this dude performed in front of the world. You don't remember that video?
No.
Yeah, but for the Super Bowl though.
DMX.
Dude, this guy can captivate whole crowds of any demographic.
Okay. Sure. I was gonna say Shawn Mendes. Yeah, like Shawn Mendes is an international guy. He could probably hold his own.
I wish Imagine Dragons could do it, but I wish.
I'm shocked they haven't.
They haven't? Okay.
I'm double checking.
Yeah, they could probably do it.
Like them and Chainsmokers are just not big enough. But
I feel.
Imagine Dragons, like think about like an EDM artist, but like I don't know. Do you like? Well, I guess EDM, Marshmello would be like the biggest guy,
or like Deadmau5 in his prime.
Yeah, Deadmau5 in his prime. I guess Marshmello's at that moment now too.
Yeah, Marshmello's at that like sort of plateau of his career, but it's it's kind of hard to like figure that out based on like just the little things that you kind of want to look at, like.
But yeah, Taylor Swift though.
Taylor Swift could do it by herself.
What are the like hot artists? Oh, Drake.
Oh yeah, well Drake would call up people just cause.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah, but like I think he could hold his own solo. Yes.
I think Justin now could.
I got it.
I think
Justin
Biebs could do it.
Oh, Biebs.
I think Biebs could actually do it now.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, actually, Biebs.
You're talking about 2010 Biebs and then today Biebs.
No, 2010 Biebs would not even be thought about.
Yeah.
For
no. I'm saying he has that length of music to
sure
shell out.
Yeah,
to
I guess so.
Sure. Biebs and like maybe special guest Mendes, or something like that.
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled.
DJ
You're saying DJ Khaled?
It's because he would just be incredibly entertaining for about 25 minutes or 20 minutes, however long they end up going. Like they would just make it incredibly.
He's behind the scratch, the turntables, isn't he?
Most of the time. Sometimes he's not, and he'll just be there yelling his name with other people. I'm not saying DJ Khaled by himself, because that would be just his Snapchat story.
It's gotta be like DJ Khaled plus
whoever he's had on his most recent record.
Yeah, like plus Drake.
Yeah.
At that point, it's just Drake.
At that point, yeah, exactly. Drake could definitely do it on his own. I feel like The Weeknd might be able to.
I mean, he's
I don't
doing
know
it
who they
now.
are.
I don't
Yeah.
know if he's gonna bring on a
Yeah,
surprise
because
special guest.
special guests will always be found out the day of. So
Yeah.
we only have that time to look into it. But yeah, you know,
Wait,
when you
so
look
who
at
else has done it recently? Okay, so we've had Maroon
so
5.
Maroon 5, we've had
And then he brought on Travis Scott.
Yeah, I remember
as
that.
yeah. Um,
We've
it's
had
crazy that Lady Gaga was able to hold her own. Like,
yeah, by
do you
herself.
think, yeah, do you think she could do it today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. What do you mean
Yeah.
no?
Like I'm sure she can perform, but I don't know if she still maintains that zeitgeist. You know,
I
that,
guess.
like,
Yeah.
is she still relevant?
Yeah. Um. That actually
Lady
might be a
Gaga could
little-
hold her own today. Katy Perry would bring the house down. We all know how that go.
Well,
Katy Perry to me has a lot more hits that you can remember.
I don't know, but like
A lot more
Katy
friendly.
Perry, when she did it, the year, 2 years, 2 years before,
Katy Perry
in
did it
2015,
2015,
Yeah.
she brought on special guests. She brought on Lenny Kravitz, Missy Elliott, and the Arizona State University
Dr. Missy Elliott, fun fact. Anyways.
Dr. Missy Elliott.
Yeah, Dr. Missy Elliott.
What is her doctorate in?
It's an honorary from Berkeley. Same with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, okay.
They were both my grad year. Fun fact for you. Anyways, yeah. So Katy Perry even had guests. Where like Katy Perry, I feel like back then could have been on her own, but like they bring in the guests for for whatever reason, you know. So it gives like those artists a little bit of a flash too. Like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars could have fucking done it on his own, no
yeah.
problem. And they brought in
Bruno
the Red Hot
Mars.
Chili Peppers, like.
Yeah,
What?
Bruno's already done it.
Well, we're talking about how like holding your own. Like Bruno can hold his own, no problem. Bruno could fucking do that for.
Bruno did it with Beyonce.
That was a few years after that though, because I think Coldplay was the main band, and then Bruno and Beyonce were the guests for that technically.
Coldplay was crazy.
They were
good.
cool. They were
Oh
they were
my
solid.
goodness.
But Bruno by himself is like arguably one of the greatest like performers of this era.
I agree.
And to think that like, you know, they gave him like there was a guest spot involved. It was like it's interesting to think about as to like why they would do that, but you know, they have the reasons and we don't know those reasons. So, yeah. It's hard to think about performers that could like pull it off on their own. By the way, we're running with about 9 minutes left.
Yeah.
Just to let y'all know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know if you guys don't have any others. This was just a fun activity.
This was
We
just a
can-
fun activity.
We can get into.
I can think of like
final Super Bowl predictions if you don't have anything else.
Tommy Wiseau wins the Super Bowl.
Tommy Wiseau.
That's
I mean, great performers. A lot of the greats have passed. you know. Pharrell
Pharrell could
Okay.
do it. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to pick him.
He's a great producer.
He's a great
Yeah.
producer.
No doubt.
He features
By
Noted
himself,
producer.
by himself,
Is
probably
he gonna do Happy
not.
for 45 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. It's just Happy. Oh God. Like by himself, probably not. But I feel like with the people that he's worked with in the past, potentially.
Oh yeah. If it was like like him and like DJ Khaled have that, right? Like
Yeah.
him, DJ Khaled, Marshmello, any producer or DJ has that, that
Ooh,
thing.
so here's something interesting I just remembered. Eminem has a single dropping the day of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it's going to be premiering during, like, at some point during the broadcast of the Super Bowl.
Oh, so is he gonna be the special
I have a
guest?
weird feeling about this now. Yeah, my Detroit senses are tingling.
Is he gonna do that thing where he rises up from the ground and
Yeah, and just
And
got
then
the
it's like-
beanie on, and he's like,
and then it's like you have like the smoke coming in over, and then you don't see him, and then finally you see him rising up from the ground,
"Yep, Maybe.
rising up from
we'll see."
Detroit.
But even Eminem, yep, all the way from Detroit to Miami, or Tampa. Rather. Yes, thank you. I don't know. Even Eminem would be a good. It would be a good. No, it depends what.
I would love him, but you know why they don't call him.
Yeah,
because he's gonna.
Because
He's yeah.
He
He's gonna say something.
He's gonna say something, and they're gonna be like, "Nope."
Yeah.
But yeah, so this has been a fun discussion of figuring out who we could possibly get. There's a lot of great names out there, and I feel like there's all the time in the world to figure out who would be the next person to play the Super Bowl halftime show. He can even place bets on it. Haha.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess we're finishing off here with our predictions for the big game, for the sports ball. Hey?
For the hand egg.
For the hand egg. Who wants to go first?
Well, I actually don't know that much about football, or I haven't been keeping up with the NFL.
Parse.
So.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs. Score spread is a little tough for me to think about right now because they just almost scored 40, or maybe they did score 40. I haven't checked.
It was almost 40.
He does have a bad foot. I'm gonna go against my better judgment here. Probably gonna go something like 27-21, 28-23 final score.
I think it's gonna be
a close enough. Yeah,
it's gonna be close. Tampa has, crazily enough, one of the better defensive units in the entire league. Kansas City also has one of the best defensive units in the entire league. Tampa has Tom Brady. Kansas has Patrick Mahomes. They each individually, or respectively rather, have their own strong receiving units too. This game is going to be close. If it's not, I'll be shocked. But it's been my pick for the last 2 years now. I got it wrong once, and I got it right last year. And I'm saying he's going back to back. It's going to be Kansas. Patrick Mahomes is going back to back. Score wise, I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Honestly, I'm going to say 21-14. I think it's going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, they played earlier in the season, and Kansas blew them out the water.
Yeah.
But as the Tampa has proven to you, just because they play you in the regular season doesn't mean it's going to translate.
Doesn't mean
playoffs.
squat. The playoffs
they
are
handle
a different
the Saints
beast.
and they handle the Packers. So
exactly.
You can. I mean, who knows? But Evans got to catch a football if they want to win. That's terrible today. I mean,
yeah.
Your hands are made of what? Rocks.
Well, it's funny because you look at Kansas, right, and they know that if receiving isn't working, their rush game is strong.
They can run the ball.
Andy Reid has a lot to think about when he goes for a rush play. It's incredible.
But I mean, Kansas has a lot of weapons, man. That's a lot of weapons.
It's a lot of firepower.
But can you stop Gronk though?
He's not.
As we all know, when it gets Super Bowl time, it's just Gronk and Tom.
It is.
Can't stop.
Assuming Gronk doesn't hurt himself between now and 2 weeks from now, partying. Which would be normal with Rob Gronkowski. Yeah. So both of us have got the Chiefs at this point.
And I just don't know enough. I haven't been keeping up enough. I'll pick one. And then I kind of want to see Tampa get it, just to see how, what that means for Brady, for the story of Brady. We already know, you guys already have discussed that this next coming decade is going to be a decade for Patrick Mahomes. So maybe just let him have this last one,
Yeah, it's I think back to 2016 Carolina versus the Broncos, where everyone thought that Carolina, off this unbelievable miracle run that they've had and this dominating season that they had, we're gonna pull it off and Cam Newton was gonna win it all. And then they ended up playing the Denver Broncos in what was Peyton Manning's last season, and the Broncos won in the end. So Peyton got his last hurrah, and the Cowboy got his one last shot in before he rode off into the sunset. Will that happen to Brady? No, because I think he has one more year left on his career, but I think all he cares about right now is ring number 7. And if he gets that, I think he calls it there. Also, Boston will burn to the ground if he wins.
Yeah, I just want to see what happens to Boston.
As a former New Englander, no. Yikes. No, just no.
Yeah.
But with that being said.
Final extra add-on.
Okay.
Mariah Carey.
What?
No, for like.
Oh, okay.
everything
I
in-
was like,
I mean,
what is Mariah
Miss
Carey?
Christmas should just stay in Christmas though.
Come on, she's not like she has more hits than
Not all year round.
I can
Touch
name
My Body.
I can name. Oh, see, I can only name 2 songs from Mariah Carey, and they are "Obsessed" and "All I Want for Christmas Is You." It's the only 2 things I can name.
I don't know. She's not Michael Bublé. Like Okay.
Such a better pick.
Hey man, Vegas money.
Okay, fine. Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, of course.
Ed Sheeran.
100% down.
I would say Ed Sheeran.
100% down.
He could probably hold his own.
I could
Castle
go for I
on
could
the
go
Hill.
for I could go for an entire 45 minutes talking about why that can and cannot work, but we don't have time.
Can
for that.
and cannot.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Both sides, eh?
But that
The
we
whole
can
essay.
save that for yeah.
Someone who is like growing right now, but just would be such a weirder than BTS, and just like would not
Doja
really
Cat.
fit. Actually, no, she kind of would.
Yeah, I
But like
guess.
would not fit the vibe at all. Would be
Edge.
Billie Eilish,
Oh.
because like
Ooh.
like hers is like very like moody,
Very
songs.
mellow, moody, yeah.
Moody, except for like Bad Guy. That was
Yeah,
like, the
pretty
only
much.
like kind of like somewhat hype song.
Yeah.
Everything else is like weird and moody, and like that's her vibe, that's her style.
Yeah.
And she's incredibly like large right now, like in terms of her following. And she would put on a good performance, just not the one that you're necessarily looking for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
That'd be
sorry, those
interesting.
are my final thoughts. Yeah,
Those are your final thoughts. Parse. I think we're all done with final thoughts here, right? I'd assume. I'd assume
man.
our predictions
I'm
were.
just glad to be on here with you guys.
Exactly. That's all that
Another
matters.
great episode.
Yeah, it's been a whole year since the 3 of us actually like hung out and watched the Super Bowl last year at my house, and now COVID's a thing and we can't do that this year, which sucks. So that being said, I do have one last band, Snarky Puppy, even though not a lot of people know who Snarky Puppy is.
a lot of people know this jazz fusion band.
Pop band. Yep. On that note, this has been the Sporculation Podcast. I'm Yusuf.
I'm Parse.
I'm Anton.
And we will see you all soon at some point. I don't know when, but